Daddy, did you hear that? Daddy, did you hear that? 7-year-old Lily's voice sliced through the morning stillness of the Colorado pines. She stopped mid-skip on the narrow dirt path, her small hand tightening around her father's. Daniel Hayes froze. For 20 years, he'd wired noisy construction sites and humming office buildings as an electrician. He was used to picking danger out of background noise. A wrong buzz, a faint crackle before a surge. But this sound wasn't electrical. It was human. A broken voice carried by the wind. Please, somebody, help. Daniel's stomach tightened. They were nearly an hour from the trailhead, deep in a quiet part of the foothills. On a weekday morning, hardly anyone came out this far. Stay close to me, Lil, he said, his voice low but steady. Hold my hand and don't let go. Is someone hurt? Lily whispered, pressing against his leg. I think so. We're going to see if we can help. They stepped off the main trail, pushing through tall ferns and clusters of wildflowers. The voice came again, weaker this time. Over, here. 30 or 40 feet off the path, Daniel saw her. A young woman slumped against a fallen log, one arm clamped over her side, fingers slick with blood. Her plaid hiking shirt was soaked dark on one side. One boot pointed at a strange angle, twisted beneath her. Her hair, dark, tangled, full of leaves, clung to her damp forehead. She looked up when she heard them, eyes wide and dazed. Oh, thank God! She choked out, breath hitching. I thought nobody... I've been calling. I didn't think anyone would come. Daniel stepped in front of Lily without thinking, putting his body between his daughter and the injured stranger as he knelt. My name's Daniel, he said calmly. This is my daughter, Lily. You're not alone now. What's your name? Morgan, she whispered. Morgan Reed. Her lips trembled, and Daniel could see her hands shaking as she tried to keep pressure on the wound. Lily peered around her dad's leg, eyes huge. Hi, Miss Morgan, she said, softly. My dad fixes things. He fixed our neighbor's washing machine even though he's not a washing machine guy. Despite the pain, one corner of Morgan's mouth lifted. Sounds like I picked the right trail, she managed. Daniel carefully moved her hand aside. The cut along her ribs was deep but clean, likely from a sharp rock or broken branch. It needed stitches, but the bleeding was slowing. This looks bad, he admitted, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. We need to get you out of here. What happened? Her face tightened. There were 2 guys at my camp, she said, each word an effort. I'd left my tent for half an hour to shoot near the ridge. When I came back, they were going through my gear, my camera, my laptop, everything. I yelled at them. One of them shoved me. I went down the ravine, hit something on the way. She winced as a tremor passed through her body. They grabbed my bag and ran. I tried to climb back up, but... She glanced at her twisted ankle. That didn't go well. Daniel dug his phone from his pocket and checked it. No signal, of course. He looked back the way they'd come, mentally tracing the path. There's a spot about 10 minutes back where I can get reception, he said. We passed it on the way in. I'll carry you there and call for help. You don't have to, Morgan protested weakly. I can crawl or... No, Daniel interrupted gently but firmly. You're light. I'm stubborn. This will work better. He slipped off his backpack and handed it to Lily. Think you can be my super helper and carry this? He asked. Lily puffed out her chest. I'm very strong now. I drink milk and everything. Morgan gave a small pained laugh. Daniel moved carefully, easing an arm behind Morgan's back and another beneath her knees. She cried out when her ankle shifted, but she wrapped an arm around his shoulders and held on. "You okay?" he asked. "Hurts," she breathed, "but I'm okay. Just don't drop me." "Not planning on it." They made their way through the trees, Lily leading like a tiny guide. "Careful, Daddy," she called back. "There's a big root here. Oh, and that rock is slippery. I almost slipped, but then I didn't, because I'm very balanced." "Your daughter's brave," Morgan murmured against his shoulder. "She gets that from her mom," Daniel said before he could stop himself. Lily heard him. "She's in heaven," she said matter-of-factly, as though stating an address. "But we still talk about her a lot. Daddy says she's not gone, she's just in a different room." Morgan's arms tightened slightly around Daniel's neck. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "It's okay," Lily answered before her father could. "We still bring her flowers sometimes. Purple ones. Those were her favorite." They reached a small rocky clearing where Daniel knew reception existed. He'd used it before to send a photo of Lily to his brother from this exact spot. He eased Morgan down against a boulder, shaped vaguely like a sleeping bear. "Stay with her, Lil," he said. "I'm just going over there to call 911. I'll still see you both. Nobody's going anywhere." Lily nodded solemnly and immediately sat cross-legged beside Morgan. "Do you want to see my drawing?" she asked. "I made it for my mom, but I can show you too." Daniel turned away, dialing. The emergency call was fast and focused. He gave coordinates, described Morgan's injuries, relayed what she'd told him about the assault and theft. The dispatcher promised a rescue team within the hour. When he returned, Lily was holding out a folded paper, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's a field of purple flowers," she explained. "My mom used to paint them and hang them in our hallway. My dad says they're like little pieces of light." Morgan blinked rapidly, eyes shining. "They're beautiful," she whispered. "Your mom sounds like she was amazing." "She still is," Lily corrected gently. "Just in a different way now." Daniel swallowed hard, throat tight. "You're not interrupting anything," he said, when Morgan whispered an apology. "Emma would have been the first one to drag us off the trail to help somebody." They waited. Lily appointed herself distraction captain, telling Morgan about her second-grade teacher, her best friend's pet lizard, the cookie recipe she and her dad had ruined the previous week. Every so often, Morgan's face would tighten as pain flared in her shoulder or ankle, and Lily would say, "You don't have to be brave all the time, you know. My dad says big feelings are allowed." When the rescue team finally arrived, 2 paramedics and a park ranger, they worked quickly. They cleaned and bandaged Morgan's side, splinted her ankle, started an IV. "Did you see the men clearly?" the ranger asked as he wrote notes. "Not really," Morgan admitted. "I was more focused on trying not to tumble all the way to the bottom. All I know is they took everything. My cameras, my lenses. My whole life was in that bag. I'm a wildlife photographer. That gear is my job." "We'll file a report and get it out to the surrounding towns," the ranger said. "Sometimes this stuff turns up." As they prepared to carry Morgan out, she grabbed Daniel's hand. "Thank you," she said hoarsely, "for stopping. For everything." "You would have been okay," Lily said confidently. "But now you'll be okay faster. Doctors are good at fixing people." She paused, then added quietly, "They tried really hard to fix my mom, too." The weight of that hung between them. "Take care of your dad, Lily," Morgan said as they lifted her onto the stretcher. "I already do," Lily replied. "He cries sometimes when he thinks I can't see, but I see. Daniel's jaw clenched as the paramedics began the slow trek back toward the trailhead, Morgan's pale face disappearing between the trees. He had no idea that this wasn't the end of a strange morning. It was the beginning of everything else. The letter came 6 weeks later. Daniel almost missed it, sandwiched between bills and menus in the mailbox, until Lily spotted the handwritten envelope. "Daddy, look," she exclaimed. "It's real mail, not the boring kind." At the kitchen table, Daniel opened it carefully. Lily leaned against his arm, reading along. "Dear Daniel and Lily, I've started this letter way too many times. The doctors told me that if I'd been out there any longer, things could have gone very differently. Infection, blood loss, words I don't like to think about. I don't know how to thank you both for what you did. Thank you feels too small. I'd really like to meet you in person, properly this time. I'm finally out of the walking boot and down to a brace. There's also something I'd like to give Lily. Would you be open to lunch this Saturday? With all my gratitude. Morgan Reed. P.S. The ranger was right. They caught the men who robbed me. Someone tried to pawn my camera bag 2 towns over. Most of my equipment has been recovered. Miracles do happen, I guess." Lily gasped. "She remembers us. Can we go? Please, Daddy. Please, please, please." Daniel hesitated only a second. "Yeah," he said. "Yeah, kiddo, we can go." The restaurant Morgan picked was bright and noisy, with crayons on the table and the smell of pizza in the air. She was already there when they arrived, standing up a little too quickly when she saw them. She looked different. Color had returned to her cheeks. Her dark hair was clean, braided loosely over one shoulder. She still favored her right leg slightly, but she moved without the rigid tension of pain Daniel remembered. "Hi," she said, smiling at Lily first. "You must be the bravest 7-year-old in the state." "Well," Lily said thoughtfully, "I don't know all the other 7-year-olds, but I'm pretty brave, yeah." Morgan laughed, then reached under the table and pulled out a wrapped package. "This is for you," she said, handing it to Lily. "I heard a rumor that you like making art." Lily unwrapped it slowly, careful with the paper like she'd been taught. Inside was a thick sketchbook and a tin of colored pencils. Soft core, the expensive kind Daniel had seen in the craft store, but always walked past. "Open it," Morgan encouraged. On the first page, in flowing handwriting, were the words, "For Lily, who brings light to the forest with her purple flowers, and courage to strangers who need it. May you always see the world with wonder. Morgan." Lily's eyes glowed. "Daddy, look," she whispered. "Real artist pencils." "You didn't have to do all this," Daniel said. "I know," Morgan replied. "That's why I wanted to." Lunch stretched into 2 hours. While Lily drew a field of multicolored trees on her paper placemat, Morgan told them about her recovery. 3 surgeries on the ankle, she said. More screws in there than in most hardware aisles, and physical therapy that made me question my life choices. "That must have been rough," Daniel said. "It was, but insurance covered most of it. And once they caught those guys, I qualified for victims' compensation." She paused, fingers tracing the condensation on her water glass. "Honestly, the hardest part wasn't the pain. It was lying in that hospital bed, realizing how empty my life had become." Daniel frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" "I've spent the last 2 years wandering from one assignment to another," she said. "National parks, remote reserves, always moving. My fiancé, Alex, he died in a climbing accident just before our wedding. After that, I just ran. Figured if I stayed in motion, grief couldn't catch me." She glanced at Lily, who was now working purple into her trees. But lying there, I kept thinking about your daughter telling me she still talks to her mom. About purple flowers for someone you can't see anymore. About you, Daniel, carrying a stranger on your back when you were already carrying your own loss. We just did what anyone would do, Daniel said quietly. Morgan shook her head. No, she answered. You didn't. I heard 2 hikers that morning before you. They heard me calling. I know they did. They kept walking. Silence settled over the table for a moment. Sometimes people get scared, Daniel offered, or they don't know what to do. And sometimes, Morgan said softly, they stop and help anyway. Lily looked up from her drawing. Miss Morgan, she said, do you like butterflies? I love butterflies, Morgan replied. They're one of my favorite things to photograph. Me too, Lily said. My mom painted them. We have a big orange one in our living room. It looks like it's about to fly right out of the frame. Morgan's eyes warmed. I would love to see that someday, she said. Daniel opened his mouth to respond and heard himself say, You should. Come by sometime. You can show Lily some of your photos too. Lily almost knocked over her water. Can you teach me to take pictures? She blurted. Real ones? With a camera? Not just my dad's phone? Morgan smiled. I'd like that, she said. I'd like that a lot. One lunch turned into a rhythm. Morgan started randomly showing up at the coffee shop, where Daniel grabbed his morning cup after dropping Lily off at school. Oh, hey, she'd say with a sheepish grin, laptop open, photos on her screen. What are the odds? I just needed some decent Wi-Fi. She joined them on easy Saturday hikes. Not the ones where they visited Emma's memorial rock and left fresh flowers. Daniel kept those sacred, at least for a while. But the exploratory ones, where Lily collected strange leaves and rocks and asked questions about every spider web. Morgan always brought her camera. See how the light hits the wings? She explained one afternoon, crouched beside Lily near a patch of wildflowers. If you move just a little, you can make it look like the butterfly is glowing. Like the stained glass at church, Lily said. Exactly. Can I try? Lily asked. Morgan adjusted the strap so the heavy camera fit across Lily's small shoulder, knelt behind her, and gently guided her hands. Daniel watched from a few feet away, something easing in his chest that he hadn't even realized was clenched. The first time Morgan stayed for dinner, it was almost accidental. They'd lost track of time at the park, the sun dipping low as Lily snapped dozens of slightly crooked photos of ducks and clouds. You might as well stay, Daniel said as they walked back to the car. It's just spaghetti. Daddy makes the best spaghetti, Lily announced. He has secret ingredients. It's not secret, Daniel said, amused. It's just extra garlic and a little sugar. See? Lily whispered loudly to Morgan. Secret. At the table, Morgan listened to Lily's dramatic retelling of the time the school hamster escaped, laughed until she wiped tears from her eyes, and automatically reached for the dish towel when water sloshed over the edge of the sink. This is nice, she said later, as Lily ran to her room to fetch a drawing. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for being so good with her, Daniel replied. She hasn't connected with someone like this since Emma. His voice caught on the name, but this time the ache didn't feel like a knife. It felt like a scar, still tender, but no longer raw. 3 months after the rescue, Lily caught a nasty flu. It wasn't dangerous, but it was dramatic. Fever, aches, endless complaints about everything. Daniel took 2 days off work to stay home with her until an emergency call from his boss came in. Power issues at the hospital, the foreman said. Main panel. We need everyone. Daniel looked at Lily flushed on the couch, then at the stack of bills on the counter. He was reaching for his phone to call his brother when it rang first. "Hey," Morgan said. "I ran into Josh at the store. He said Lily's sick. Can I help?" "I can't ask you to." "You're not asking," she interrupted. "I'm volunteering. I can edit photos anywhere, and I'm very good at reading stories in silly voices." An hour later, she arrived with homemade soup in a thermos, popsicles, and a stack of picture-heavy books about animals. When Daniel came home that evening, tired, dusty, and smelling faintly of metal and insulation, he found Lily curled against Morgan on the couch, both staring at Morgan's laptop. "What are you two up to?" he asked. "We're making a book for my mom," Lily said sleepily, "with pictures of all my favorite flowers." On the screen was a digital album, Morgan's photos of lupines, sunflowers, and tiny alpine blooms with simple captions in Lily's own words. "These flowers are purple, like Mom's favorite dress. These ones smell like happiness. Dad says Mom painted flowers that look just like these." Daniel's eyes stung. "That's beautiful," he managed. "Miss Morgan says we can print it and leave it at Mom's rock," Lily added, "so she can see them even better." "That's a perfect idea," Daniel said quietly. After Lily drifted to sleep, he walked Morgan to her car. "I don't know how to say thank you," he told her, "for today, for all of it." "I should be thanking you," she replied. "You and Lily pulled me out of a ravine I'd been stuck in for 2 years, even before I fell." She hesitated. "And before you argue," she added with a small smile, "that's not me being dramatic. That's just the truth." 4 months later, on an ordinary Tuesday, Lily ambushed him with a question that turned his world sideways. "Dad?" They were curled up on her bed, a book half read between them. "Yeah, Pug? Are you going to marry Miss Morgan?" Daniel nearly dropped the book on his face. Where did that come from? Lily gave him the serious look she'd inherited from Emma. "You smile different when she's here," she said, "like in the old pictures with Mom. And she looks at you like you're sparkly." "Sparkly?" he echoed, trying not to laugh. "Like the way I look at new markers," Lily clarified, "and she makes very good soup. I think that should count for something." Daniel took a breath, choosing his words. "How would you feel if that ever happened?" he asked, just pretending for a second. "What does pretending mean?" she asked. "Hypothetically," he corrected. "It means we're just imagining it, not saying it will happen." Lily thought about it, hugging her stuffed rabbit. "Would she live with us?" she asked. "Most married people do live together, yes." "Would we still go to Mom's rock?" "Always," he said firmly. "Nothing could change that." "Would Miss Morgan try to be my new mom?" Lily's voice softened on the last word. "No," Daniel said. "You already have a mom. Nobody could replace her. Miss Morgan would just be Miss Morgan." Lily chewed her lip. "I think Mom would say it's okay," she said finally. "She wouldn't want us to be lonely forever. Maybe—" She frowned in concentration, then brightened. "Maybe Morgan could be my bonus mom." "Bonus mom?" he repeated. "Yeah," Lily said. "Like how you sometimes get bonus levels in video games. It doesn't erase the old ones. It's just extra good." Daniel blinked away tears. "You know you're pretty smart, right?" he said. "I know," she answered, perfectly serious. "So, are you going to ask her?" The question burrowed into his thoughts and stayed there. Weeks later, he and Morgan sat on the front porch while Lily chased fireflies in the yard, a jar clinking in her hand. You're thinking very loudly, Morgan said, watching him. Am I? You've been different since Lily was sick, she said gently. Did I do something wrong? No, he replied quickly. That's actually the problem. She tilted her head. Can I ask you something? Daniel said. Always. Why us? He asked. You could have sent a thank you email and gone back to your life. Why did you keep coming back? Morgan watched Lily for a long moment. When Alex died, she said, everyone told me I'd find love again someday. That time would heal everything, that someone else would come along. I hated them for saying it. I didn't want someone else. I wanted him. Daniel nodded. He didn't say anything about the nights he'd stood in the kitchen, hand on the back of Emma's empty chair, wishing her back with an ache that felt like it might split him in half. But then I met you and Lily, Morgan continued, and you didn't tell me everything happens for a reason. You didn't try to fix my grief. You just let me be broken ankle, broken heart, and all. A firefly drifted between them, its light blinking on and off. And Lily, Morgan added with a smile, looked at me and saw Miss Morgan, who takes pictures, not that woman whose fiancé died. She has a talent for that, Daniel said, seeing people as who they are, not what happened to them. She gets it from her dad, Morgan said softly. Silence stretched between them, comfortable but charged. I love you, Daniel said suddenly. The words surprised him, but they felt right the second they left his mouth. I wasn't looking for this. I didn't expect it. But I love you. And it scares me half to death. Morgan's eyes filled. It scares me too, she admitted, because I know what it's like to lose everything. So do I, he said quietly. But we also know what it's like to find something worth the risk. Lily ran up just then, jar glowing with captured light. Look, she crowed. I caught 8. That's a personal record. That's amazing, Morgan said. What are you going to do with them? Let them go, obviously, Lily answered. They're not lamp bulbs. They're supposed to fly. She opened the lid, and the 3 of them watched the fireflies rise into the night, tiny stars blinking in the darkness. Out of the mouths of babes, Morgan murmured. 2 months later, Daniel brought Morgan and Lily back to the trail where everything had started. Why this one? Morgan asked as they walked. Lily has a plan, he said. I'm just a chauffeur. At the clearing near the old fallen log, Lily stopped. This is it, she said softly. This is where we found you, Miss Morgan. This is where everything changed. Morgan looked around. Daniel saw her remembering. Fear, pain, the sound of Lily's small voice cutting through the trees. Dad says sometimes the worst things make the best things happen later, Lily said. Like how Mom getting sick was the worst thing, but it made us learn how strong we are, and you getting hurt was awful, but it brought you to us. She pulled a small box from her pocket, wrapped in paper covered in hand-drawn purple flowers. This is for you, she said, thrusting it into Morgan's hands. Morgan glanced at Daniel, who only smiled. Open it, Lily urged. Inside was a delicate silver necklace with 3 charms, a butterfly, a tiny camera, and a heart. The butterfly is Mom, Lily explained, because we always feel her near. The camera is you, because you help us remember happy things, and the heart is us all together. Morgan's hands shook. Lily, she whispered, this is beautiful. There's more, Daniel said. He dropped to one knee. Morgan's breath hitched. Told you, Lily whispered gleefully. Morgan, read, Daniel began, pulling out a small ring box. 9 months ago, you were a stranger bleeding on a mountainside. Lily and I thought we were just taking flowers to a rock and talking to someone we couldn't see anymore. He swallowed. You didn't come into our lives to erase Emma. You did something much harder. You made room. You showed us that love doesn't run out, that we can hold grief and joy at the same time. You've become part of our rituals, our laughter, our ordinary afternoons. You brought color back into our house in a way I didn't think was possible. He took a breath. So I have 2 questions. Can I ask one? Lily blurted, bouncing. Daniel laughed. Go ahead, kiddo. Will you be my bonus mom? Lily asked, eyes shining. I invented that. It means extra love, not replacement love. Tears spilled over Morgan's cheeks. Yes, she choked out. Yes, absolutely. And, Daniel continued, opening the ring box, Morgan, will you marry me? She nodded before he even finished the sentence. Yes, she said again, louder. Yes to all of it. Lily flung her arms around both of them as Daniel slipped the ring onto Morgan's finger. They ended up in a tangle of arms and laughter on the forest floor, sunlight flickering through the branches above. They were married the following spring in a meadow not far from Emma's memorial stone. It was small, just close family and a few friends, but perfect. Lily scattered purple petals down the aisle with the seriousness of a surgeon. These need to be spaced correctly for maximum prettiness, she told anyone who tried to hurry her. During her vows, Morgan turned to Lily first. Lily, she said, you taught me that love doesn't have to look the way I expected. I promise to honor your mom, to help you remember her, and to love you with my whole heart while always being just what you named me, your bonus mom. Then she faced Daniel. You saved my life on that trail, she said, but more than that, you saved me from disappearing into my own grief. You and your little girl reminded me that moving forward isn't betrayal, it's bravery. I promise to stand with you in the hard days and dance with you in the good ones, to carry your memories while we make new ones. Daniel's vows were simple. You and Lily found me when I didn't know I was lost, he said. You didn't fix us. You just loved us exactly as we were and gave us the courage to write another chapter. I promise to keep choosing you every ordinary day in every small thing. And I promise, Lily shouted from beside them, making everyone laugh through their tears, to share my purple pencils and teach you all Mom's favorite songs and to always be your bonus daughter. Afterward, as guests mingled and Lily ran around with Morgan's camera, taking wildly framed portraits of everyone, Daniel slipped away to stand by Emma's stone. Fresh flowers, purple of course, rested there, along with a small photo. Daniel, Morgan, and Lily on the trail, the day of the proposal. In the image, a bright butterfly hovered right above Morgan's shoulder. Thank you, he whispered, to Emma, to the sky, to whatever had aligned the paths that day on the mountain, for the years we had, for sending us help when we didn't even know what to ask for. A butterfly, orange and black, landed on the edge of the stone just then, wings opening and closing slowly in the warm air. It stayed for a long moment, then lifted and drifted toward Morgan and Lily, circling them once before joining the others in the meadow. Dad, Lily called. Come see, I took the perfect picture. He walked back to his family, one part past, one part present, all of it stitched together with love, and looked at the image on the camera screen. It was Morgan mid-laugh, head thrown back, Lily blur in the foreground, a butterfly frozen above them like a tiny glowing blessing. It's perfect, he said. We should print it, Lily declared, for our family wall, with Mom's paintings and Miss Morgan's bird photos and my drawings. The family wall. Months later, that wall told their whole story. Emma's paintings of forests and skies, Morgan's photos of mountains, butterflies, and one small girl in a purple jacket. Lily's drawings, at first simple flowers, later 3 figures on a trail with a 4th, made of light, and wings watching over them. One night, curled on the couch between them, Lily asked, "Tell me again how we became a family." Daniel began, as he always did. Once upon a time, there was a dad and a girl who went to the mountains to bring flowers to someone they loved. And they heard a stranger calling for help, Lily added. And they listened, Morgan said softly, even though their own hearts were still healing. And then, Lily finished, we all helped each other, and we decided that love doesn't run out, it just grows. Daniel kissed the top of her head. That, he said, is exactly how it happened.